and gentlemen, here today to the Fanshield 500 on NASCAR Heat 5. I'm Keegan Schneider. Before we get started, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content such as these full race live streams with a realistic broadcast as you're about to see here in a couple seconds. And also, well, we'll just leave it at that. Hit the bell note tonight. Primetime edition for us, but this will actually be a day race on the game. No practice or qualifying rolling into this one as well, as the season continues here with Ryan Blaney at the forefront. Black Ace, Lucas NASCAR for Life 18, welcome to the stream. Bowman to the 48. I did see that right before I came on to this live stream. Yep. I actually got home about 4 hours ago, but I was relaxing a little bit. Long day driving. So I wanted to give myself a couple hours, get something to eat, you know, relax for a little bit. But we're back here. It's been about 3 days. I was able to stream the first night on the road, but I was not able to stream the night after the race because by the time I got the post-race analysis video out, I actually fell asleep before it even uploaded. So that's why I was late to my comment on not a mistake necessarily, but rethinking what I had thought about the DiBenedetto situation there. So you can go on and look at the video. I'll look down in the comments section for my change of mind, I guess you would say, on that topic. And then last night, what happened last night? Monday night. Oh yeah, I was just on the road, and then by the time I got NASCAR's #1, but I usually say football season doesn't start until after, but after NASCAR's done. But again, it was a long day of driving, but I'm back home, so we are set to go. Joshua White, Broken Jr., welcome to the stream also. So here we go here in today's race. Martin Truex Jr. will be starting from the pole here at the Phoenix Raceway. Corey LaJoie's been struggling here in this one. Brett Keselowski also starting at the rear, so you have two Penske Fords starting at the back, and this is the first race with the 750 horsepower. This is also, of course, the site of the championship. NASCAR Peyton, welcome to the stream. So here we go. Green flag is about to wave. And we are underway at Phoenix Raceway. Martin Truex Jr. leads the field to the green, 75 laps to start this race for the opening stage. Everybody's going to be borderline on fuel. We're going to be about 5 laps to the good at the very start here. And hopefully we've got the correct setup in it to start the race as well. Blaney searching for that first win of the season. Look at him, 3 wide to the bottom of the track in turns 3 and 4. He did it in turns 1 and 2 as well on the initial start, but Ryan Blaney trying to get through the field as quickly as he can. Already inside the top 30, a lap and a half in. Keselowski's still back there, caught up in traffic likely. How deep Blaney drove it into turn 3. Tried to get to the inside of Stenhouse, who had a big run on Austin Dillon to the outside of him as well. Hopefully us ourselves have a better run here than what we had in the Xfinity Series race. Things could obviously play out different. It's a longer race. Pit strategy is going to be a lot different compared to what was in that race. We only had 2 cautions per incident in that Xfinity race last week. 3 wide now, just in front of Ryan Blaney. Chase Elliott in the mix. Vinnie Miller, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Sorry, not Vinnie Miller. That's B.J. McLeod, the 78 up there. Making a big run to the outside of Ty Dillon now. Got stuck in the middle lane. Blaney has a run to the inside of Chase Elliott. Drove it in a little too deep, almost got in the side of Ty Dillon, barely kept it off of him, but he is able to clear Elliott. It has been about a week, maybe a little longer since our last Cup race on the channel. I think it's been since last Wednesday, so exactly 7 days here since our last Cup race on the channel for NASCAR Heat 5. So a little bit of rust here, and it's been a long time since we've used the controller on a Cup race too. Five laps already in the books, but Blaney is already moving up into that 22nd position, getting around Ty Dillon. Oh, Blaney got the wall off of turn 2. Maybe got back in the gas a little too soon there. Kind of pancaked it. At least there's not heavy damage to the race car as he rolls on. And of course we've got the camera back after the camera not being there a couple nights ago, Friday night when I streamed first day on the road. Vlog will still be coming out from Talladega this weekend. Haven't had a ton of time to edit it since I've been gone. Did your first full race, nice. Hopefully you did well. Penske Ford's not off to a great start, although Blaney's working his way through the field. You see Joey Logano in 20th off to a rough start, and of course Keselowski started at the back as well. He's trying to make his way through the field. Blaney will get around his teammate Logano cleanly there off of turn 2. 12 car Ryan Blaney, though, again, is working his way through the field, but hopefully he's not using those tires up too much at the beginning of the run. This is a very flat racetrack, of course, on the brakes quite a bit here, especially with the 750 horsepower package. Getting on the brakes early, diving into the center of the corner really deep, and beating Eric Jones back to the gas. It's going to give him a shot to get under him now into turn 3. And Blaney's easily going to take the position, but now Jones is going to try the crossover move. Eric Jones is going to get right back around Blaney once again, so great crossover there by Jones. Blaney drives it in deep now into turn 1, trying to get under him. Beats him back to the gas, clears him. Barely off of turn 2 there. Michael McDowell coming through the field as well. McDowell just passed Eric Jones now also, as Blaney has gotten to 19th. He's got a little bit of a gap before the 18th place car of Ricky Stenhouse. Blaney drives away from McDowell just a slight bit there, not as much as he did Jones. That 34 car, Michael McDowell, looks really fast in the beginning of this race. Broken, unfortunately you cannot super chat. I need 1,000 subscribers to be eligible to have super chats or get paid by YouTube. So again, anybody you know that's interested in NASCAR, anybody watching currently right now that's not already subscribed, please subscribe. So we're on the road to 1,000. My goal is to get there by the end of the calendar year 2020. We got a little over a month and a half left, or 2.5 months left still, so I want to cut it close. So I know we've kind of stalled out over the last month or so. We hit 500 pretty quickly, but then pretty much since I went to Darlington, we kind of stalled out a little bit. Tim Irvin, welcome to the stream. Blaney trying to run that protective line. Keselowski, meanwhile, to the outside of Michael McDowell in the 34 car. And Blaney is losing touch from the 18th place car up ahead of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Got really tight into turn 1. Luckily, the cars behind him are side by side. They weren't really able to get a run on Ryan. The 2 car, Keselowski definitely looks fast here. He's coming through the field pretty quickly. Blaney down to the apron, through the dog leg on the front stretch, trying to gap himself a little bit. That's going to give him an awkward angle, though, into turn 1. And as he washes up the track, here comes Keselowski on the bottom, who was able to get by Michael McDowell. Uses a little bit of that side draft. Blaney gets really loose off of turn 2. And he's going to let us race him too hard this early in the race. Blaney's car is definitely starting to slide out on him here as we're just over 15 laps in. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see on that, Joshua. Of course, we're still ways away from that game coming out. Definitely don't see it coming out any earlier than this game did in early July. In fact, I would be surprised if it didn't come out until closer to like September-ish. like the NASCAR Heat games did before that. Again, this was kind of an earlier release this year compared to normal. And honestly, the game might have been rushed with that aspect, and why it is quite buggy, because it came out about 2 months earlier than it usually would. So that had to have played a huge factor in that. Yep, Tim, there is no out of bounds here at this racetrack. Cut that apron as much as you want to. Not going to see me do it too much, or any of these drivers really do it too much in the race. It's more of a passing lane than anything else, and you usually see it worked well on the restarts, but hitting those bumps coming off the banking of the actual racing surface onto the flat of the apron tends to wear out the tires quite a bit. So you're not going to see me do that too much. And it gives you a little bit awkward angle into turn one compared to if you were to have that wide sweeping corner. If you were to hit your trajectory normal, as you normally would around that first turn. Loose getting off into turn three that time. Blaney just tagged the wall with the rear bumper. That right rear corner panel didn't allow him to turn it off into there well at all. And now here comes Michael McDowell challenging for the position as he looks to the inside of Blaney. Blaney running that middle lane that time, able to get a better drive off than McDowell. Chase Elliott still in 22nd, about 2.5 seconds off the lead. So Blaney got up inside the top 20 really quick. For starting at the back, he got up to the 19th position in about the first 15 laps of the race, and he's really stalled out since, and is still losing time on those guys ahead of him. Keselowski's moved up to about 18th. Patrick Shadley, welcome to the stream. Definitely a long race. Don't count anybody out of it this early at lap number 19 currently. Yeah, you can definitely diamond turns 1 and 2 off. Turns 1 and 2 really flat. 3 and 4 is a little bit more banking, but you can't really work that middle to upper line as well. And we got a car up in smoke. Blaney got back in the gas way too soon off of turn 4. Car up in smoke there of the 88, Alex Bowman, with problems on the racetrack. And Blaney now tries to go for a position on Stenhouse for 18th. Couldn't quite get him there. Blaney's car sliding around all over the track. Really early in the run yet. Definitely going to have to be careful. Take care of the car. And he might need to make it another 50 laps. Again, the fuel's going to be really tight to the end of this opening stage. And we stay green after Bowman going up in smoke already. That gave at least Blaney one more free position. One of the faster cars that he'll likely beat now here today, unless Bowman can get his way back on the track. But Bowman in a big deficit early on in this race. We've had 3 different winners over the first 3 races of the season. We'll have to see if we can get a 4th different winner in the first 4 races here tonight. No lap traffic so far, at least back to where Blaney's at. I'd have to imagine the leaders have already gotten to that point. Blaney's about 15 seconds off the lead. Takes about 26.5 seconds regularly to get around this racetrack. Blaney's best lap in the early going is 29.563. About a half a tenth off from where he was at the start of the run, but it's tough for him to not pedal the throttle through the center of the corner right now with how loose the race car is. It didn't start off very tight. Actually, the handling at the start of the run was pretty good. I think that's why you were able to see him gain so many spots early, but as this run is carried on, really see the rear of that car sliding out underneath Ryan, and it's definitely costing him a little bit of time. Those rear tires are just not gripping up. They're not biting to this racetrack. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Bristol having a dirt race. I'd rather them run the regular Bristol, because Bristol is my favorite track personally, and it's probably the track that puts on the most consistent, solid racing. Especially of all the short tracks, in my opinion. I would have rather them kept it the same. The dirt race, as the first couple of years that Eldora was on the truck schedule, it was like a spectacle for the truck series on that schedule. And it was something new. But now that we've gotten 5, 6, 7 years into it, it's not stale, but it doesn't have quite the, I guess, the pizzazz behind it. I mean, that race sold out the first couple of years it was in the truck series. In the last couple of years, it hasn't sold out. I was actually there for the Dirt Derby last year in Eldora. And for a truck race, there was a lot of people there, but I mean, that place was selling every, bit of the 30,000 and 35,000 tickets, which for a truck race, that's really good. Especially on a short track, that is really good for the truck series. But I've noticed that's kind of dwindled. The demand for it isn't as high. And it's probably because the racing isn't nearly as good, especially in that general area of Eldora. The King's Royal, one of the bigger World of Outlaw races, is there every year. The World of Outlaws actually takes a couple shows down there throughout the course of the year. So for people that maybe can only make it to Eldora once or twice a year, that would be the preferred show over the truck race. So I think that would be the case with Bristol. I think the first couple of years you're going to see the attendance go up for the spring date itself, but then it'll end up fizzling out over time because the racing is just not as good as what it would be on the concrete oval. So we'll see. I could be wrong. We'll have to see how the racing is this year. I don't expect it to be knock your socks off good. We might have a classic battle between like Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson or something of that nature. That's definitely within possible realm, but I think overall it's just not as great. Canadian Bacon, welcome to the stream. Oh boy! Wasn't paying attention to the stream enough, right? Or the track itself there. I was paying too much attention to the chat and I almost missed the dog leg completely. Yeah, I'm not able to read all the comment on there, Bacon, nor can I really take my hand off the controller. It's unfortunate. Yeah, I was there live in person, so I don't know exactly what went down. I mean, I have an idea where they cut the race out early. And we've seen that with the truck race on Fox Sports and stuff like that before. I think that happened at Martinsville last year where they cut out of the truck race early. And not everybody has like NBC Sports or Fox Sports 1. So I definitely understand the frustration there. And indeed, they need earlier start times if they're going to do stuff like that. If the race is going to run long, especially... I mean, the strange thing is, too, you never see that happen with any other sport. Granted, a lot of them aren't on NBC. Like, yeah, Sunday Night Football is on NBC for the NFL, but it's Sunday nights. Notre Dame plays Saturdays. But again, it's Saturday and not Sunday. But, like, if I'm watching, let's say, even an MLB game. Let's say I'm watching an MLB game on the regular Fox network. If that game goes 15, 16 innings, let's say, it's still on the Fox channel. They don't switch it over. Like NASCAR, It's like the only sport I've ever seen have an issue with that. I don't think I've ever watched a sporting event of another sport and that happened. Again, that's not NASCAR's fault either. That's NBC, you know, executives or whoever makes that final decision. Hey, we need to get this race over with, so they cut the channel away. But yeah, I have an idea of what happened, but where it kind of went to the, was it the local news or was it the national news that it went to? Local news doesn't make any sense at all. National news, I understand a little bit, but again, like sports, you usually don't see that. Usually you just see the nightly news delayed. Like they'll delay it, and they'll just wait for the game or the race or whatever to get over with. Ryan Blaney's race car really struggling right now with how loose it is. Really see that car sliding around quite a bit, and he's in danger of going a lap down here if we don't get a caution soon. There are only 20 cars on the lead lap, and he is losing a ton of time here. Look at how loose that 12 car is. It just wants to turn straight left in the center of turns 1 and 2. Not as bad in turns 3 and 4. I think the banking kind of helps the race car out, but 1 and 2, that car just wants to turn straight left. And you see Kevin Harvick back there, who leads this race, is not that far behind where Michael McDowell and Ryan Blaney are running right now. And McDowell's trying to get around Blaney for position. Blaney doesn't want to give it up. And those guys are at least battling for the lead back there. Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick going at it. Harvick leads with Busch right on his tail. And they're trying to put as many cars a lap down as possible before the end of the stage. But the stage is going to come to an end here real soon. Blaney's in the wall off of turn 4. Cars just washed straight up the racetrack, and here comes Harvick and Busch. Blaney hanging on, or at least trying to, in case there's a caution. Going to beat Busch back to the gas and barely stay in front of him there. Kyle was able to clear Kevin for the moment. Harvick back to his inside. Less than 30 laps to go in the opening stage. Kurt Busch right behind both of them now. And Kurt Busch is going to be going for the lead with 28 to go in stage 1. Those rear tires are just not gripping up on Blaney's car at all right now. He's really slowing up over the course of the run. Blaney's doing all he can to hang on to that race car and hope for a caution or something to happen here. Oh man, Busch just gets to the outside of Blaney off of turn 4, and he clears them before they get into turn 1. And Blaney's now the first car 1 lap down. And Kurt Busch puts the bumper to Blaney, trying to catch up to his younger brother Kyle for the lead. Here comes William Byron in the mix. Truex is up here. And the top 5 are all within a second of the lead, it looks like. Truex now to the inside of Blaney. These guys are going to get around him pretty quickly now. And the problem is for the 12 car, he is the first car 1 lap down. So if we get a caution, he can at least get the free pass. That is it. The caution comes out now as he gets loose and slides up into the 24 of Byron. Accidentally, of course, but race car is just not handling well at all for this 12. And Michael McDowell is in danger of going a lap down. Blaney needs the caution to come out before McDowell goes a lap down, so at least Blaney can get the free pass, because I don't think he's going to catch Michael McDowell over the course of the run. In fact, David Reagan slowly catching Ryan Blaney as well, as Reagan's now less than 2 seconds behind him. Kurt Busch going for the lead, meanwhile on Kyle. And Blaney's absolutely dirt tracking it through these corners right now. Here comes Boyer in 6th. Kurt Busch to the lead, and Michael McDowell will go a lap down in the process in the 19th position. We got about another 5 seconds to catch up to Matt DiBenedetto, who is the last car on the lead lap now from where they're all currently running. And he's going to let Clint Boyer go to his inside. Just amazing how loose this 12 car has gotten. I mean, he's holding on for dear life in the center of these corners right now, trying not to spin out, not to wipe out, and just last to the end of the stage. He's already a lap down as it is, and he's not the first car lap down either. It's not going to do much here. Now, I guess we could get the caution, and then knowing that the stage break would be coming up as well, that could be a chance for Blaney to perhaps get back on the lead lap. He's trying not to hold up these lead lap cars anymore like he was. And even in the center of the front stretch through that dog leg, the car just wants to turn straight left. And how about the run? BJ McLeod in his cell phone 78 car, of course, a Rick Ware Racing affiliated car. But McLeod is in the top 10 in 8th, and he's trying to run down Matt Kenseth for 7th. That's a heck of a run that team is having right now, and he's closing in on Kenseth as well. This car might be better suited for the longer run. He qualified right around 20th. And still no caution so far in the race for incident, or even at all. Here's Keselowski, started at the back. He's in 9th currently, and you know he's moving himself up through the field pretty quickly as well. Whoa, man. Another big moment off of turn 2 for Blaney. About clipped the 41 of Cole Custer. He's done a great job not really making contact with anybody outside of the minimal contact he had with Byron about 10 laps ago, but despite sliding this car around so much, trying to hold his position at this point to the end of the stage. Diamond Jeff, welcome to the stream. Again, 18 laps to go in stage 1. Stage 2 will be a little bit longer than what stage 1 was. Stages 2 and 3 pretty even with each other. This is the shorter of the 3 stages to start the race here. A little bit of a sprint. We'll have to make at least a green flag stop for sure in the next stage. Now, we don't know. We might have to make one here. Tough to gauge whether or not that is fact or fiction. That right rear tire is really worn out on Blaney's car, and you can tell how loose it is. Again, that right rear is worn out more than the right front. It's not getting any rear tire grip at all in that race car right now. So adjustments will have to be made for sure under the stage brake or a caution, whatever comes first. And Blaney overdrove the corner. He gets sideways. Keeps it straight, and we stay green. He's going to lose a spot to David Reagan. He's going to lose a couple spots there. Has to downshift to 3rd to keep it going, and we stay green, but that was not ideal for Blaney at all that time. BMNJ, welcome to the stream. Still 14 laps to go in the stage. I don't even think that 12 car is going to make it to the end of the stage. You might have to pit, but if he pits and nobody else has to pit to the end of the stage, he might be 3 laps down by the start of the second stage of the race, and that would not be good for Ryan Blaney. He's already not going to score stage points, and he's already going to finish a lap down. Anything worse than that would be dangerous, and he is really hoping for a caution before the end of the stage if he can't make it. Oh, he just kissed the wall off of turn 2, and that's not going to help anything either. And he's trying to roll out of the gas a little bit earlier and not use the rear tires as much. Use a little bit more of the right front, though the right front is pretty worn down also. There's not really much that Blaney can do right now to help conserve on his behalf. The stage will end a lap earlier than what he would be running right now because he is a lap down, so that could help as well. So 9 laps to go currently in the stage. And the stage will end once the top 10 crosses the line, which already the 10th place car has put a lap on him, so. Got that going. Can't tell exactly how far the leaders are behind Blaney. But we definitely know he's having a hard time with this race car right now. It just does not look competitive at all here today either. Doing a good job staying in front of Eric Almirola in the 10 car, at least trying to hold on to that 22nd position on the racetrack. Big moment off of turn 4. I think he slightly got in the wall there. It was tough to tell for sure. You know, Suarez isn't even that far behind Eric Almirola. Maybe a half second, a few car lengths, but that's about it. Still 6 laps to go in stage 1. Oh, Almirola puts the bumper to Ryan Blaney. That's one way to get around him for the 22nd spot. Blaney going to try to cross him over. Returns 3 and 4. Couldn't complete the pass, and that 12 car is just really loose, as he saw there, and he's going to let Almirola go now down the front stretch. Suarez is probably going to get around him as well. What started off as about a 17th or 18th place car at the beginning of the run, again, he is fading back, and here comes Suarez around the outside. Blaney will give up the spot to him now. Maybe not, as he barely slides back in front of him. I think he wanted to let him go. Oh man, that car almost zooped around, and now on the brakes in the middle of the front stretch. But once that right front tire gives on the race car, these times are just going to get harder for Blaney, and we have a car on pit road right now. I'm not sure if he's up at smoke or if it's a scheduled stop. And Blaney trying to nurse it to the end of the stage. No sign of the leaders behind him. 3 laps to go in stage 1. Here comes Jimmy Johnson. And 14th on the lead lap there. Blaney is really nursing this race car. Trying to make sure that right rear tire is going to hold up to the end of the stage. And now you can see the leaders way back there in a pack. And the right rear has gone on Blaney's car. He's in the wall hard. Caution will fly, and that will end stage 1 as Blaney just clipped the wall going into turn 3 after losing control. The right rear tire went flat. caution will fly for the first time today at the end of the stage. Ryan Preece in 16th will get the free pass, and Kurt Busch will win stage 1 here at Phoenix. One round of wedge being put into the race car for Blaney now to try and help tighten it up, and now the 8 seconds of damage on the front of the car is not going to help anything at all. Very rough go for stage 1 here for Ryan Blaney, and you can see the damage to the engine of the race car as we start stage number 2. 115 laps roughly in this second stage. 4 wide on the restart. Eric Jones quickly to the bottom of the track. Squeezes his way through there. What a move by Jones. He definitely forced it to go 4 wide there. And he's trying to tighten that race car up, and with the damage, it's almost going to tighten itself up as it is. Blaney's very fortunate he didn't DNF there going off into turn number 3 at the end of the stage. Now Ross Chastain with a little bump and run himself there, and tightening up that race car is going to make it, I don't know if it's going to make it slower as much as what the damage is making that race car a lot slower at the start of this run as well. Blaney unfortunately might have to just limp it all the way home to the finish. Because the last thing he needed to do was lose control. I mean, he went over 70 laps, but once that right rear tire blew out, he had no chance of saving that car going off into turn 3. Blew right in the center of the corner. Well, right on corner entry. Mari P, welcome to the stream. Contact with LaJoy there, and LaJoy gets loose into turn 3 because of it. And here comes Logano, who's also struggling today. Well outside the top 20. Austin Dillon not going to let Blaney down to the inside. It's still 3 wide. He squeezes his way past Ryan Blaney now in the 12. Damage not really visible to the front of this race car. You can see there's a little bit of damage there, but again, cannot be repaired under our 5-second damage policy. Amari, we have not gotten a win yet. 0 for 3 to start the season, and it's not looking good already. Off to a rough start here tonight at Phoenix. Definitely not comfortable to be running this horribly at the beginning of a race in which this race track is hosting the championship this year, and next year for that matter, that we know of as well, since the 2021 schedule has come out. But this could be troublesome for this 12 team, that is for certain. Yes, Amari, we're currently a lap down. We fell a lap down right at the end of stage number 1. Then our rear tire blew out on us and we got in a crash. That was the only caution so far of the race was right at the end of stage 1. We had 2 laps to go in the stage when Blaney blew that right rear tire. He's trying to nurse it home and just ran a couple laps shy. Now we will have a scheduled pit stop at some point in time in this stage, so if he has to pit because of tire wear, he'll pit immediately this time. You won't have to really stretch the limit, although you never want to be the first car to hit pit road on a racetrack like this. A short track nonetheless with a long, slow pit road. 45 miles an hour is the pit road speed, I believe, at the racetrack here at Phoenix, if I remember right from our Xfinity race. And again, we only had 2 cautions per incident that entire race. 200 laps, and we already had 1 in the first stage of this race, which was only 75 laps. Yeah, the tires are all right now. We're only 12 laps into the run, so not worried about them at the moment, but
got one down low now. All right, you're clear.
it's going to be tough for Blaney just to get back in the lead lap the rest of the race with the damage of the race car. He is not in any sort of a position right now to be close to getting the free pass. Again, there are 16 cars on the lead lap, so 17th place would be the first car 1 lap down currently.
Inside. Clear low, clear low.
Brendan Gaughan now looking to pass the 12 of Blaney. Definitely a decent amount of damage to the engine of that race car after getting into the wall, blowing the right rear tire. Hit it right at the end of the pit wall, too. He almost missed it. It looked like he had it saved, but as we go into turn 3 here, I'll point out where exactly we hit. Oh, Quinn Houff just stuffs it into turn 3, into Blaney, and around goes Houff. He misses the inside wall, but now we'll get our second caution of the race. In turn 3 once again, as Houff just stuffed it right into Blaney going into turn 3. Came in way too hot. Overdriving the corner, and once he made contact with Blaney, he lost control. DiBenedetto will get the free pass in 17th. Kyle Busch is in the lead at the timing of the yellow flag. So Blaney is going to take advantage of this. He's going to pit here. Cannot make it on fuel to the end of the stage from here. But why not pit when everybody else is staying out, it looks like. See what the fresh tires can do here for Blaney. They will play a factor here. He's got about 20 lap fresher tires. The green flag is back in the air here in stage number 2. So again, tires will play a factor. Blaney with the restart. Oh, this is going to get tight off into turn 3. 4 wide. Blaney just tried to send it in there, and he got in the back of Brendan Gaughan. He's got to be careful not to damage the nose of the race car any more than what it's already damaged the rest of the race if he can help it. Here's DiBenedetto back at 17th after getting the free pass. The reason why the fresh tires might not play a difference is because Blaney just might not have the horsepower in general here today with the damage to the race car. I mean, he's doing everything he can Finally clears Chad Fincham. He's going to beat these guys back to the gas through 1 and 2. That's going to help a little bit. Blaney's doing everything he can right now. Using the apron through the dog leg, almost made contact with Ty Dillon coming back up onto the racetrack.
Careful, still there. Still there. Stay low, stay low.
Using up Austin Dillon a little bit there. Off of turn 2, there was a slight bit of contact between the number 12 and the number 3 car. Now, you're allowed to repair the damage in the game specifically, Amari, but under my 5-second damage clock, because we have more than 5 seconds of damage, so 6 seconds of more of damage, I cannot repair it. We are at 8 seconds of damage. So that is unfortunately why I was not able to repair it at all. And the fresh tires are making a little bit of a difference, but not a whole lot because of that. We're just lacking the horsepower at this point. But knowing everybody still has to pit another time before the end of the stage, we'll have to see how this goes. And Blaney can go about 20 laps further on fuel than what everybody else can. So if we get a long enough green flag run, he could find himself back in the lead lap. That caution might have played out. Now, although Quinn Half got into him, that caused the caution. We did not cause it ourselves. Half just overran the corner, and once he made contact with us, he lost control of the race car. So I'm not... That is why I pitted there. If I felt like we spun him out, then I wouldn't have pitted, because you guys know me. I usually don't take advantage of those kinds of situations, but because he basically ran into us and then lost control, I didn't think it was our fault at all. Oh man, Blaney almost ended up in the wall there. Barely able to stay in front of the 62 of Gone. You can't repair some of the damage. It's either all or nothing with this game. And that's why I have the 5-second damage clock, is because you can literally repair all the damage under one pit stop, where on older NASCAR games before the NASCAR Heat series, say even like the old EA games or something of that nature, if you had a severely damaged race car and you weren't DNF'd and you could actually still run, it wouldn't repair all the damage, because it's not realistic. Like, you can't repair all the damage. Like, there's still going to be damage there if you got in a wreck like we did when we blew our right rear tire. So that's why I have that policy in play. Plus, it makes it more difficult, yes, but the NASCAR Thunder 04 series, there's no way to judgment how many seconds of damage you have. I mean, you can check, but because it won't repair it all the way, and it will take some of the speed out of the car no matter what, and no matter how well you can repair it. That's why when I do play the older games, you don't see me use this policy. Just with this game. I wish I would have implemented it in NASCAR Heat 4. I just didn't really think of it at the time. But I was trying to think of new ways. I was like, okay, we got to do something here. So kind of thought of it. Figured out NASCAR's got a 5-minute clock, so we'll make it a 5-second clock for us. I mean, I can repair the damage if I have 8 seconds. Like, realistically speaking, I can repair the damage. I'm choosing not to under my stipulations and under my rules, because that'd be breaking the rule I have put in place.
Still there? Inside.
Sports Live, welcome to the stream.
You're clear.
So the goal is for Ryan Blaney right now is to keep this race car running. And don't go another lap down. especially knowing these guys could possibly pit before him, and there's a good chance they will, unless we get a caution before the end of the stage. We'll have to see how that might play out. Then you wonder if he could take the wave around at that point, but I don't think he can. I mean, he could, but be no guarantees we get another caution before the end of the stage, because Blaney, no matter what, even with a caution, can't make it on fuel. Even with a caution, he'd be about 9 to 10 laps short. That was a bad entry into turn 3. Wasn't paying attention there. Noah N, welcome to the stream. CAD 9 here? I don't think so. And there is a caution. For the third time today, this time it's for David Reagan in the 36 car, who goes spinning again in turns 3 and 4. So that's the third caution of the race. All 3 cautions have been in turns 3 and 4 here tonight. PlayStation's hacked. That's a bummer. Well, hopefully you can get back to playing soon for your sake. Yep, thanks for subbing. So Blaney's going to pit again here because not everybody on the lead lap is hitting pit road. So he was not going to be able to take the wave around. And it is going to be borderline for these guys to make it on field to the end of the stage. We'll see how it'll go. Green flag back in the air. Following the third caution of the day, all for incident, 75 laps to go in stage 2. So a mix of drivers on old tires and fresh tires here. At the front of the field, we have drivers on older tires. Clinton Boyer leads the race on the first lap following the restart. At least the top 5 or 6 cars are on older tires at the front of the field. Everybody on 4 fresh Goodyears trying to fade back through. Contact between Blaney and Ty Dillon. Dillon stuffed it in there 4 wide into turns 1 and 2. Blaney's going to have to let him go, and that about jacked up the 51 car. So he had to check up, and now Blaney sends it 4 wide to the bottom of the track. He's going to cut it down to the bottom, trying to clear him down there. Cleared everybody but Almiroli. Cleared the 2 Dillon brothers, though. Almiroli kind of drives away from him. Blaney still clear of the cars behind him, and now files himself back in line. Not the first time we've seen a set of 4 wide racing action on these restarts at this racetrack here today, and I'm sure it won't be the last. Things widen out through the dogleg at the racetrack, and now Blaney gets tight up the racetrack. And again, the 51 of Gase had to check up. More contact between Ryan Blaney and Ty Dillon. Yeah, Sports Live, I know if you think that's the case, I think you could shut down your account if it is actually hacked, because, well, it depends. Like, if you have the password itself, say, linked up to like a laptop or your mobile device or whatever, that might be the case, because I know mine is. I get all my emails through my email, which obviously I have my email on my phone or my laptop, so I could go in and if something like that were to happen to me, I can shut it down immediately. So you might be able to do that if it is hacked and they change the password, which I guess there's a good chance that could be, then I guess you would have no way of shutting it down unless you contact PlayStation Services hand on hand. Then you could tell them, hey, I think somebody hacked my account. Is there any way you could stop it? Damage is definitely costing Blaney right now, and there's more three-wide action just up in front. Because I am back home from Talladega Super Speedway this weekend. Oh, a little contact there. Reagan and Blaney. But anyway, what I was going to say, Reagan takes the 25th spot away from Ryan Blaney. Now that I'm back home from Talladega Super Speedway, we'll be back in the consistent streaming schedules on the daily as we usually do on the channel here. So we will have another full race live stream tomorrow, and it will be another Cup Series race. We'll be at Atlanta Motor Speedway tomorrow afternoon. Start time at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be the start time for that one. 500 miles at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'll be using my steering wheel for that one. Hopefully we can go for a first win of the year, because it doesn't look like it's going to be there, or I should say here tonight. Could be wrong, but it's not looking good early for Ryan Blaney. Oh, trouble. Car and smoking in the wall. They were 4 wide in the center of the corner. Somebody started smoking. I think they blew a tire. Caution will fly once again. That is the 4th of the race and the 3rd of stage number 2. We're going to have more cars hit pit road, including the race leader, who is actually Boyer still. So everybody on the lead lap that did not pit under the first caution will be pitting now. Blaney again going to hit pit road. Take a half round of wedge out of the car. Yeah, Michael Jordan will be owning a team in NASCAR. It is true. It was announced last week. Going to be majority owner with Denny Hamlin. Hamlin will be a minority owner, or yeah, minor owner in the team. So majority ownership goes to Michael Jordan there, and then Bubba Wallace will be driving the car. Don't know exactly what number. Everything's speculated to be the number 23, but that number is available. And it will likely be a Joe Gibbs Racing affiliated team as well. So it'll be a lot like how the Furniture Row partnership was with Joe Gibbs Racing. And contact from behind there, Bobby Carter. Got into the back of Blaney on the restart. Blaney still stuck on the top, finally able to get to the bottom as he let Corey LaJoie on through. And now Michael McDowell checks up. A little contact there. I mean, there's some definite flaws with the NASCAR playoffs. I mean, my thoughts on it, if I were them, they need to find a point system and stick to it, because they were having that consistent trend once they started to go to the chase that they were changing the point system every few years. Because even when they had the chase and they expanded the chase of how many drivers were in, then they went 1 point per position instead of like the old format as far as like what the points were paid per position. And then bonus points were just one bonus point for leading the lap and another bonus point for leading the most laps. I think if you won a race, it was a bonus point. So they changed that. Then they brought the 16 driver playoff field in, and they only had that for 3 years before they added stages onto it. They need to keep the point system the way it is now for the longevity of everything. So they're not changing the point system every 3 to 4 years. Is this the perfect point system? By no means. No, it's not. Would I prefer if they had, say, the Winston Cup point system? Yes, I would prefer that personally. I'm warming up to the 16 driver playoff field as it is. The more years they run into it, it's not terrible. It's not perfect, obviously, and everybody can point out the same reasons, but it's not the worst thing in the world. They could have a better way of deciding an actual champion in the championship race. Like if they went this round by round format and they promoted stage points, they promoted the playoffs as it is, that'd be fine. If they had the same 3-race playoff instead of just the winner take all between the 4 in the last race, I think that would be more beneficial. But again, I don't want them to change the points format from the way it is now at the stages and with the playoffs the way they have it and the way the playoff points are used for wins and stage wins. I don't want them to change it anytime soon. They need to keep this point system the way it is for at least from when they started, at least 10 years, to at least have some sort of consistency with the points formats instead of changing them every 3 to 4 years like they've done over the last 15 years or so. That's my general opinion on it. They need, as much as people, it might pain people for me to say they need to keep the playoffs and keep it as broad as that. That's why I explained why they need to keep it. They need to keep it so they stop changing the points format every 3 to 4 years. They need to keep it one consistent thing and stick with it. Whether that would be the old Winston Cup system or what they have now. And if they were to change it back to the old Winston Cup point system, then that means they're changing the point system again in a 3-4 year stretch. So they need to, in my personal opinion, they need to keep this playoff format at least for the better part of a decade. And then if it still runs its course and it's still dried out and majority of fans still want the old point system, drivers still want the old point system, then you can consider going back. But you need to stick this out. You can't keep hindering, you know, the points every single year. NASCAR Peyton, welcome to the stream. I think I saw you in the chat earlier, but if I didn't point you out, welcome to the stream.
Got a car high now. You got room. You're clear. Got one peeking outside.
Again, this 12 car very slow. It just feels like we're getting slower and slower as the race goes on. So we have 4 fresh tires. We are running slower than what we were on the last 2 runs. When he did make a wedge adjustment, took a half round of wedge out of the race car to try and loosen it up a little bit, but it's still just not fast at all with the damage, and unfortunately it might be like that the rest of the race. No way of Blaney repairing the damage, over 5 seconds of damage, so it exceeds our 5-second damage clock. Very fortunate to still be running, and the fact that he's 26th, I think he is somewhat okay with that. Obviously it's not perfect by any means, but we'll see if he can find a way to get back on the lead lap at some point. I don't think it's going to be any time in stage 2. Again, 4 cautions total so far today, and we're only in the 2nd stage. Still a 3rd and final stage yet to go. Contact back of the pack between Blaney and Fincham, and just adds more damage to the nose of Blaney's car, so that was not ideal at all there. There's a little more contact added on to it. So we alternate through the different camera angles, by the way, for the first time tonight. What inspired me to start a YouTube channel, preferably for NASCAR, obviously. But yeah, I saw success of what other NASCAR YouTubers were having. I kind of wanted to hop on board to it. It wasn't something I thought about a couple years ago, and I have a huge passion for NASCAR. If you guys couldn't tell already, over the last however long we've been, this channel's been around, well, less than a year. Again, we started doing daily streams at the start of the season this year, so the channel's still really young. And it's a work in progress, obviously. Nothing's going to happen overnight. But anyway, what inspired me, I've always had an inspiration for NASCAR and to commentate for sports, and NASCAR being my #1 sport, that's the sport I would love to commentate and broadcast the most. So that's why I wanted to start a YouTube channel doing these NASCAR video game live streams, and that's why I do the full races, so I can do the realistic broadcast over the length of a full race and give my best effort to give the commentary as realistically as I can. With that, hopefully one day getting a job to commentate real races. Obviously, NASCAR would be #1, and you know, ultimate goal would be the Cup Series, you know, someday. But that's a long process in the making. This was my first foot in the door kind of thing, so that's pretty much why. Well, that is why I started the channel. Get the name out there and get something growing, and hopefully next summer I'm going to be really looking into a local short track broadcasting job or something of that nature, just to start off with, or you know, like an internship or something. Try to get in somewhere to at least start somewhere real. Obviously YouTube will always be there, and I want this to grow and I want this to get big someday for that reason, because it will only help. And you guys enjoy the content. Obviously you guys keep coming back, so that's great, and the subscribers are growing too, so for sure. But yeah, that would be why I was inspired to start doing this. And like I said, I saw success of what it could do within the realms of the NASCAR YouTube community, and I know it's a long process. I mean, Eric Estep even stated it on a live stream a couple weeks back that it took him 8 years to get 100,000 subscribers. So realistically, a couple years in, he never would have thought that that could have happened. And I'm not saying that that's how big I want this to be, or exactly how big. There's no specific number for how this will go, other than a career profession of what I might be able to do and doing something I love. Josefina Bravo, welcome to the stream, but I know obviously it's not Josefina behind me. Josefina name there. Caution's out for the 5th time today. Car here for Blaney.
We're going green. Ready? Hammer down, green down. Inside.
Green flag back in the air, and we are underway. Following the 5th caution of the race. Blaney trying desperately to get to that free pass position by the end of the stage. Cars checking up in front of him, a little contact with Legato. Getting into turns 3 and 4. Still 36 laps to go in stage number 2. The cautions keep growing. We've had 4 cautions alone in the 2nd stage now. They've been coming out pretty frequently. Tire strategy not playing a big factor for Blaney with the damage to the front of his race car, but he's doing everything he can here to get to that free pass spot, wherever it might be, to the end of the stage, and he's got to go. Put the setup back to the way it was before he changed it. Trying to gain speed that way. Thanks, Amari, for sure. Yeah, first step into the actual channel itself, we need to get this thing to 1,000 subs. So if you guys are watching and you're not subscribed currently, whether that is now or you're watching this in the future, well after it's posted, hit that subscribe button. We got daily NASCAR content. These full race live streams with the realistic broadcasts are the main inspiration for the channel and the main goal, but we have other videos along the way, whether that be prediction, post-race analysis, fantasy, live advice, stuff of that nature, and hopefully other stuff in the not-so-distant future as well. Blaney using all the racetrack. Couldn't clear Quinn Houff because of it, and that gives him such an awkward angle into turn one. He's having to get on the brakes a little bit earlier just to hit the marks in the center of the corner. This definitely doesn't pan out all that well for him. R6, welcome to the stream. We're supporting the Jack Link Star here tonight for Ryan Blaney. First time we've run this scheme in the early going of the season. David Reagan to the inside, putting the bumper to Ryan Blaney. Moving him up out of the way. Reagan was a part of one of the cautions we had earlier in the race within this stage. Blaney trying to cross him back over. He got to his inside, a little side draft getting off into the corner as well. Beats him back to the gas, but he's not quite able to clear him. And Reagan side drafts him right back off the right rear corner panel that time. Blaney's run's already stalled out. Yes, NASCAR career mode will be back. Again, I know I said, what was it, last week? I said we were going to get a video out, and then I ended up not having as much time as I thought. I was still planning the Talladega trip for this week, but now I'm back. I'm still on vacation tomorrow, until tomorrow, and then I go back to work on Thursday, so there could be a live stream at some point tomorrow with NASCAR Heat. We're going to have our full race live stream at 5 o'clock tomorrow, but there's a good chance we might have, say, a career mode episode later in the night. Depending on what time that race gets done, of course. If that race gets done too late, then might have to postpone it, but we'll get it going eventually. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten it. And Reagan back to the outside of Blaney. Blaney kind of hogging the bottom down the backstretch there. And he just loses speed over the course of the run, even with the fresh tires. And no matter what wedge adjustment he's made today, not sure of what to do air pressure-wise. The car's been a little too loose, but at the same time, I don't think anything's really going to matter setup-wise to get speed within the race car with the damage to the front nose. If there was no damage, it'd be a different story. But again, that damage was ensued at the end of stage one. Blaney blew a right rear tire with 2 laps to go in the stage, and he compacted the inside pit wall head on going into turn 3. And that is what gave him the 8 seconds of damage. It doesn't look very visible, but it is definitely there. You see on that screen right there, heavy damage to both the front and the right side of the race car, and of course damage to the engine itself. Tyler Burback, welcome to the stream. Excited for the Indianapolis road course. Yeah, so when we get to the point of the Xfinity Series season, I kind of figured I'd have to end up doing the points myself eventually. So far we haven't DNF, so I haven't had to do it. So for the Xfinity Series, when we get to Indianapolis at that point in the season, I'll run the Indy road course. Obviously, I'd have to use the race now, I believe. So from that point on in the season there, I will definitely be doing the points myself again from that point. So yeah, I'm a little bit excited for it. Didn't have to wait until the next NASCAR game to get it going. Makes you wonder if they'll add the Daytona road course at any point in time too. It's a possibility. Still 23 laps to go in this stage, 22 to be exact, knowing that Blaney's a lap down right now. No sign of the leaders yet. Goes off into turn 3. Joey Gase in 24th is about 2.5 seconds ahead of him. There's a big pack of cars up there, but yeah, again, not able to repair the damage the rest of the race here, so Blaney's going to be stuck here right around 25th, maybe hoping for a couple more DNFs ahead of him that could gain him a few more spots, a couple more points, but this will be the first race of the first 4 races of the season that Blaney will score 0 stage points. Even at Las Vegas, he scored 2, despite finishing 12th and not really scoring a lot of stage points, of course, that day, but at least he scored some. But here today, he is not going to score any for the first time this year. He came into this race 6th in points after the first 3 races, too. And not having a win through what will likely be the first 4 races. Lacking the playoff points here. No stage wins so far either. So not an ideal start for Blaney to this season. Yeah, again, it was in my post-race analysis video on my thoughts and opinions from the Talladega race on Sunday. But I'll state it again briefly here. I feel like I'm one of the few people that actually think Denny Hamlin shouldn't have been penalized. And I understand the frustration because NASCAR's not consistent with the calls. That's the main reason why I think fans are frustrated, is because they're not consistent with it. But from what I saw in person and looking back on the replays, how sideways the 24 of Byron was after the contact with DiBenedetto, it looked like he was going to wreck. I don't know how he saved it. Great save for him. And to still bring it home inside the top 3. That was a great job by William Byron. So, anyway, with how, I mean, that car was pointed towards the infield off of turn 4. But he corrected it back. And Hamlin was committed to going below the line for sure. I think he was committed to going below the line regardless, but because that happened, I think he was trying to avoid an accident. Because it looked like at least the 24 Byron was going to wreck, and he was going to try to beat him to the inside after the contact. Now, did he stay below the double yellow line quite a ways before he came back up? Yes, but the initial response to him going below the double yellow line, in my personal opinion, obviously, and what I saw being there live in person, off of turn 4, was that he was trying to avoid an accident. That's my feeling on it. I feel like 90% of the NASCAR universe thinks he should be penalized. And I understand why he could be, and again, I understand the frustration of not making the calls consistent when it comes to the double yellow line calls, for sure. And you can look back to, whoa, Regan Smith got black flag there. Well, I also think Regan Smith got forced and he should have been. But you can't compare old stuff to new stuff. So that, and NASCAR can't do that either. It's a judgment call at the time. And if NASCAR thought that he was trying to avoid an accident like I thought, then yes, that would be the case. Now, if they're saying he got forced, which I think there was one comment where I saw that they did say that, but then they also kind of retracted that statement and said, well, he was trying to avoid an accident. Oh, man, contact. Speaking of accident, Ty Dillon makes a big save. Contact there with Blaney. Much like how Quinn Houff ran into him in turn 3 earlier in the race. Houff lost control. Ty Dillon was able to save it. He got rear-ended by Harvick in the process, who is the race leader, might I add, but man. But yeah, so anyway, I'll just leave it at that. And I think a large part of him being penalized, especially with the fans that were in attendance booing Denny Hamlin and saying, oh, he cheated or whatever, like, you guys could probably pick it up on my my vlog video when that comes out, that there's a lot of people behind me that are like, you cheated and stuff like that. Like, and I get the frustration there, but a lot of the people that were there live in person and then saw something like that happen is a large part because not a lot of people like Denny Hamlin. So I feel like if that was Chase Elliott, it would have been completely polar opposite there as far as the at-track persona booing him. I think if it was like Chase Elliott or even DiBenedetto who made that move, they wouldn't have been like, oh, you know, like, he cheated. They would have been like, you know, he might have went below the line, but he won. So, you know, it's just because it had to be Denny Hamlin in the season he's having this year. Kevin Harvick has just put Ryan Blaney a lap down. How about the 78? BJ McLeod, career day, is in second place currently, trying to run down Harvick, who is a master at this racetrack. Keselowski trying to run him down as well. Brad started at the back of the pack. He's up to third. Harvick being held up now, so Blaney being 2 laps down. It was going to be tough for him just to get that 1 lap back. Now trying to get 2 laps back is virtually impossible. Ethan, welcome to the stream. Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream. Yeah, great day for Brendan Poole. 9th place finish. Premium Motorsports. I believe that's a career high. Probably for the team as well, so kudos to him. You know, I'm a little upset. I really do want to get to the NASCAR Weekly, or maybe not even the podcast guys in person, but just any NASCAR other NASCAR YouTuber in person. You know, just to help get the name out there too. You know, even if it's just a little hey, bye kind of thing, you know, something. And they were, where I saw the, where their N2SE4R's vlog was, and where Jarrett videotaped a couple of his videos of the race throughout the course of the race. When I saw them after the race, I was like, they were literally sitting like above me. Like they were in the upper section, I was in the lower, and probably 2 sections over, because they were behind the start finish line. I was just in front of it. Like we were literally like so close to one another. I never saw them the entire day. I didn't see them under the bleachers at all before the race, and obviously I wouldn't have seen them during the race from where they were sitting. But then they had that live stream after the race. I would have had to have walked right past them, because I was parked over in the area where they were at, but I didn't see them when I was walking back out there. So yeah, it was just kind of a weird scenario. I'm like, how did I not see you guys? Like, especially when they were huddled in a circle out in the middle of the parking lot after the race and outside the racetrack, and I was parked in that general area. I would have had to have walked past them. I probably just wasn't paying enough attention to detail. Yeah, Justin Haley's definitely one of the better super speedway racers in all of NASCAR, that is for certain. Definitely in the Xfinity Series. I mean, he wins a lot in the Xfinity Series. Should have won that extra time at Daytona, too. I have something big planned in my head for this winter, though, with the channel, if I can get other NASCAR YouTubers on call, but I'll keep that a surprise. Not on call, but if I can get a hold of any of them. I have a big plan. I don't know if it's going to work out, because I haven't been able to contact them at all, but if I can, I have something huge planned for the channel. Whoa! 3 wide there as Christopher Bell really threaded the needle, and now Newman moves Blaney up the track, so Blaney just getting in the way here. Last lap of stage number 2. White flag is in the air. Once the top 10 cross the start-finish line, the stage will be over. And stage 2 will come to an end with Blaney in 25th. He finished 26th in stage 1. Improved 1 spot there, but it's not going to be enough, and he falls another lap down. He was 1 lap down at the end of stage 1. Stage 2, on the other hand, 2 laps down. Chase Elliott will get the free pass in 20th, but most importantly, BJ McLeod wins stage number 2, an upset winner in the stage, passing Harvick in the later going of the stage, and Keselowski as well did for second place. So 2 drivers that started a little further back, especially Keselowski started at the very back of the field. He's going to have a shot to win it here as this race rolls on. I can't repair the damage there, Tyler. I got to stick with my rules, as much as it hurts me to run 25th the entire race. I've got to stay consistent with the rules. I can't change them from one race to the next. And green flag back in the air. Third and final stage is underway. 119 laps to go as we start the final stage of the race. BJ McLeod. We didn't think that we're going to see an upset winner here today, particularly at Phoenix, a short track, 750 horsepower. But he has brought the speed today with that single car team, and if he could win, that would really upset the playoff picture as the season wears on. I know we're only 4 races in, but we've already had 3 different winners. He would be the 4th, and to have an upset winner this early in the year as well, that would be huge. Not only for that team, but just, again, the playoff picture in general. And drivers like Blaney, who haven't had a strong start to the year, have to be worrying. And although we do know Blaney does have Talladega circled for that regular season race to possibly get that first win, if we don't have the win up to that point, that will be coming up in a handful of races. Atlanta's my best track on NASCAR Heat, video games in general, and that's the next race also. And we did win the truck race there, so there's a good chance we might have speed for that race, and we could probably contend for a first win. And again, that will be coming up tomorrow. Cup Series at Atlanta. 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be the start time tomorrow. Realistic broadcast as always with that one. That would be insane if BJ McLeod did it. And this is the championship race, remember that. And the fact that BJ McLeod is leading this race and won stage 2, that's already going to give him a playoff point. Obviously, he's got to finish inside the top 30 at the end of the regular season as well. And given his equipment, that might not be easy. But if he's running this well in this race today, he's just got to do his part on the intermediate racetracks with the 550 horsepower, and I think he could do all right. Oh yeah, for sure. I never understood those races when NASCAR throws the caution on the last lap coming to the start-finish line when they're a couple hundred feet in front of it. They did that with the truck race this weekend too, and in controversy. I don't think enough people are talking about that, mainly because of what happened in the Cup race on the big stage, but similar situation happened where I believe it was Stuart Friesen got turned on the backstretch, and they didn't throw the caution immediately, and then they threw the caution literally as they were going through the tri-oval, a couple hundred feet in front. It's like, why didn't they throw the caution beforehand? And then you see in the Cup race this weekend, you see the same thing. There's a spin on the backstretch. There's another spin off of turn 4, and they didn't throw the caution the entire time. And they're so inconsistent when it comes to that. If they were consistent, I would not have a single problem with any of the rules that they have. But the fact that they're so inconsistent, like, it shouldn't be a ball and strike call. Like, it should be written better in the rule book than what it is. Any of these rules.
Still there inside. Still there.
Oh no! Penske cars get together there. A little contact. Austin Dillon in there as well. Everybody skates through as we stay green.
Still there. Car outside, hold the line.
We're LaJoy to the outside of Ryan Blaney, and again, Blaney's car is just fading here in this one. Luckily, although he is 2 laps down, it could be a lot worse.
Looking inside now.
Still a little over 100 laps to go, so we'll see how this is going to pan out. Do I make money off my live streams? No, I am not getting paid currently. I don't get, you're not eligible to get paid unless you have 4,000 minutes of watch time, I believe it is, over a calendar year, and 1,000 subscribers, and we're well over the 1,000 minutes. I think I was over 10,000 minutes of watch time, if I'm not mistaken, or right around that. So we are well over 4,000 there. So again, thanks for everybody that is subscribed. You guys are watching. You guys keep watching. That's great. We just got to get new subscribers. And when I checked 2 weeks ago, I mentioned this. 2 weeks ago, I checked the analytics. It's 67% of people that watch the videos and the streams on the channel are not subscribed. So what are you guys doing? Come on. Anybody that's not subscribed right now, please subscribe. I mean, that's 2/3 of the people that watch the channel aren't subscribed. If all those people subscribe, we'd be well over 1,000 subs right now. And that shows that they keep coming back and watching, and that's why we have so many minutes in watch time. We have so many minutes in watch time. We have more than double what we need to have for me to either get paid or, you know, get the super chat up there. We just don't have the subscribers. Thanks, R6. Ethan, the Talladega race was awesome. To be there in person, I want to go back next year. It's unlike anything else I've seen. It really is heart-stopping. I talk about it more in the vlog. Now that I'm a couple days past it, you know, I can look back on it with excitement. But in the heat of the moment at the track that day, it was... I caught myself like smiling so much throughout the course of the race. Like, it was under caution, and I was just smiling like, what am I watching? What am I witnessing in front of my eyes? This is insane. And that was even with the being a wreck fest. Like, if I would have saw the spring race when Blaney won, and the fact it was a clean race, which I always pride, you know, watching clean racing. And if I would have thought that that was the best race I've ever seen in person, and nothing's gonna beat it. I don't know if this was the best race I've seen in person. It was the best atmosphere, though. It was definitely the best atmosphere I've seen within the crowd and everything else. And we were only like 20% capacity. I couldn't imagine if that place was full and that happened. It reminded me of Bristol for the All-Star race this year, as far as like the hype around it and the people at the track, you know, excited for it and stuff like that. That's what it reminded me of, with the atmosphere of it. It wasn't the greatest Talladega race by any means. Obviously, it had a controversial ending. But even throughout the course of the race, it was really sloppy as far as the wrecks went. They were so aggressive. Like Logano and Hamlin, the first... How long did Hamlin lead there? After Hamlin led, Logano led for about a dozen laps or so, too. That first stage, when both those guys were leading a lot of laps, they were just throwing ridiculous blocks that probably shouldn't have been made in the opening stage of the race. I'm like, whoa, what are they doing? Like, it was nuts. So definitely a lot of, you know, head scratching moments there for sure. It could have been a much cleaner race. That's for sure. Set the record for the most cautions in a Talladega race in history. So usually don't see that kind of calamity. It did take a little bit for the race to get going too. It was a really slow start. They had those. Got the competition. Yellow had 4 cautions in the first 25 laps. It felt like the race didn't even start. Like, they only had like 3 or 4 green flag laps in that start. It's just like, it didn't even feel like the race was going on yet. But then once they got rolling towards the end of stage 1, I'm like, okay, they're racing now. But yeah, I definitely highly recommend going in person for sure. I'm gonna put my foot down on this. And I guess another reason why I wish the Indy Oval was still on the road or still on the schedule. I think they should run the road course, but I think they should run the Oval too. They should do kind of like a doubleheader weekend kind of thing. Even if it's just a Cup event only, to run the road course on Saturday and then Sunday run the Oval, something of that nature. Not just for traditionalist aspects, but I mean, just being there, and that was probably the best race I think I've seen in person, was the 2018 Brickyard 400. In general, I had an awesome finish that wasn't controversial, and like this one. This one was an awesome finish, but it was controversial. So you hate to see that. Leaves a little bit of a bitter taste in your mouth, but that had an awesome finish. If you guys go back, watch that, and or have not seen it, it was a great finish between Hamlin and Keselowski. I thought Jones was going to win it at one point there. But even the racing throughout the course of the race was probably the best Brickyard 400 in history. We could assume that. There was passing throughout the course of the race. A large part of it, they were on a green racetrack. They still had the 750 horsepower package there, so dirty air wasn't as much of a factor on that track. It always is at Indy, but because it's tough to pass. But I mean, that race was awesome. That was a good race, and it was ran on a Monday, so I mean, there wasn't a lot of people there as it was, but ran on a Monday, it definitely lessened the crowd even more. Nonetheless, it was still a great race. So BJ McLeod still leads with less than 100 laps to go here at Phoenix, and he has just put Blaney another lap down. Blaney is now 3 laps down in the race today. Truex trying to keep up with these guys. Keselowski is right behind him there as they go 3 by 3 further in the pack back there. Matt Kenseth's up to 4th. He's having a good run, and the caution flies. And that is a tough break for Ryan Blaney to see that caution. Because if he just would have held on for another lap and a half, he would still be 2 laps down. Instead, he is 3 laps down in the 25th spot. McLeod still in the lead, though, and that is now our 7th caution of the race. R6, I'd be A-okay with you doing that. Oh, I know. So, yeah, I didn't get the Kurt Busch wreck on camera, but I kind of stated it a little bit in my post-race analysis. I think I saw my life flash before my eyes. I just repaired the damage, I think. I didn't mean to do that. Well, I just repaired damage. Whoops. Green flag back in the air after the 7th caution of the race today. 94 laps to go. Well, I'm gonna have to penalize myself, as you guys know. I'm gonna have to pit. An extra time, whether that would be under caution or... We had this scenario happen before, so if before the end of the race, I'm gonna either have to make a green flag stop if we stay green to the end, or the next caution, I'm gonna pit, but I can't take tires. I need to... Or if everybody else pits, well, no, I gotta pit because otherwise I get the wave around if I stayed out. So, yeah, I have to punish myself here. Unfortunately, I did not mean to do that. I kind of flew through it. I was talking about Kurt Busch and I got sidetracked there. I've been getting way too sidetracked in these last couple races. I've noticed. I need to put more focus into this. Make the broadcast a little bit better, I guess. Granted, we're running 25th, so it's not really a lot to talk about. But we'll contact Joey Gase. Yeah, I'm not going to pit now. I'll wait it out just in case we get another caution. But the way things have gone in the last 2/3 of this race, we've gotten a lot of cautions so far, so I would not be surprised if we saw another one before the end of the day. Nicole Urbe, welcome to the stream. I believe that is Trey, if I'm not mistaken, but welcome to the stream, Trey. Been a little bit, I can't quite remember. So I'll quickly talk about the Talladega race again, real quick. This will be the last time, I promise. But yeah, so when Kurt Busch's accident, it happened right in front of me. So they were in the center of the tri-oval. I was sitting 19 rows from where the catch fence was. So obviously row 1 all the way up to 19, where I was sitting, lower bowl, like lower section, closer to the racetrack, not as high up. And I was sitting 2 sections in front of the start-finish line, so really, really close to the start-finish line, but not quite there. So I was, watching the race, and I was intensively watching the race as I do anytime, especially when I'm live in person. I'm like always like intensely watching the race, especially first trip to Talladega. There's a lot going on, so especially watching it there. So I'm keeping a close eye on it, and I see Jimmy Johnson get loose in the center of the tri-oval. He turned down, made contact with the car to his inside. I believe it was Austin Dillon. I could be wrong on that. And then when he came back up the track, or no, it was Kurt Busch. Yeah, he got into Kurt, and then he came up the track, and then Kurt came up the track. So I saw Jimmy get loose, turn back up the track, and I was looking at Jimmy, and then literally like right in front of me, I see Kurt Busch catch air. And there wasn't a lot of smoke at the time. Like literally when I was looking at Jimmy, and then I glanced and saw Kurt Busch in the air, I saw Kurt Busch's, like the roof of his car, like facing me. I'm like, I put my hands on my head. I'm like, oh no. Like, I thought he was coming into the fence at first. And then he came back on the track and started sliding hundreds of feet down. I didn't see him come back on the track. I didn't know if he like barrel rolled at first, because there was a lot. As soon as they passed where I was at, there was so much smoke looking down by the start finish line that you couldn't quite see the carnage until it ended. And then you just saw all the wrecked cars laying around everywhere, and then you see Kurt Busch's car mangled, and I'm like, oh geez. Then they showed the replay, and he was surfing on top of other cars. But yeah, the first glance, I saw like the roof of his car pointed like at me, and I was, or right where me and the general people around me were sitting. Because I was looking at Johnson when the wreck started, because that's where the wreck started, and then I just saw Kurt Busch in the air, like right in front of me. I was like, Super Speedway race before, you got to give props to those guys for strapping into those things. I know the NASCARs are a lot, or stock cars are a lot safer now than what they used to be, with especially in the Gen 6 era. And I mean, even like just seeing the aggressive blocking going on at the beginning of the race and being there live in person to actually like see how fast they are going compared to on TV, it makes it seem a little bit slower sometimes, and you don't really get the real grasp of how fast they're actually going until something goes bad. Well, when you're there in person, you see how fast they're going. And then when something goes bad, it happens so much quicker than what it would look like even on TV. So when something like that happens, it really does take your breath away. And then he got out of the car, thankfully, and he was all right. And even when that wreck down the backstretch when Kyle Busch almost flipped and the air got under his car as well as Almirola, it takes your breath away, because you're like, oh, okay, he came back down. Like, that was definitely a couple scary accidents there, that's for sure. Oh yeah, for sure. If it was IndyCar, that thing would have just... I don't think that thing would have ever came back down on the ground. I mean, granted that they wouldn't be racing in packs like that in IndyCar anyway, but I get what you're saying, that style of accident. Andrew Hollenbach, welcome to the stream. Oh yeah, last night I ended up staying just south of Lexington, like literally 6 or 7 miles south of Lexington. So I had like a little bit over 4-hour drive left when I came back home, and then I played around to golf before I actually got in the house at like, I got home at like 3:15, 3:20 or so. I know it was only a 1-hour difference, but that time change down in Talladega was throwing me for a loop. Like that night after the race, like I was planning for it when I was going there, because I stayed in Chattanooga, which was Eastern Standard Time, so I knew I had to leave, or I could leave an hour later than what I was wanting to. But like, I was getting so tired at night, I'm like, why am I so tired? It was like 9:30. I usually don't get tired that early. And then when I woke up, it was like 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, why am I so wide awake right now? And I'm like, oh, well, I guess it would be 7:30 back home. So, and I'm usually a morning person anyway, but I don't always get up at 6:30, especially on my own free will. If I do, I usually set an alarm. Brenda Runyon, welcome to the stream. How do I feel about Alex Bowman to the 48? Yeah, again, that's I mean, he was staying with Hendrick Motorsports anyway, so it's not really huge news. And the reason why he's taking over the 48 is because the sponsorship behind Bowman in the 88 car wasn't there. So by him going to the 48, Ally is going to be a full primary sponsor for this next year, and I think the year after, if I'm not mistaken. So easy decision to make there. Don't blame him at all. And that frees up, obviously, if Kyle Larson goes to the 88 or the 5 or whatever number it ends up being, doesn't matter. But if he goes to the 4th Hendrick car, and if Hendrick has to fund that out of pocket like he was starting to do with Bowman there, he will. If Larson gets reinstated, which he probably will, and everything should align right. But if it waits too long, you know, and if 2021 season's right around the corner, which it almost is in general, but I mean, if we're like a month or maybe even like 6 weeks out and he's still not announced, don't be surprised if anybody else gets hired in, like an Eric Jones or something of that nature, if deals aren't said and done by that point, or whoever might be out on the market. Or just, I don't think they're going to lose the charter, but if they can't get him a month before the season next year, they might have to wait out on him. I wouldn't say tight end into the 88. That I'd be shocked about. Oh man, Blaney. I could have gassed a little too soon again. It's about the 3rd time we've seen that today. He got in the wall off of turn 2 just because of that reason alone. Now been a pretty night, to say the least. 71 laps to go currently, and Blaney is 3 laps down currently. Story of the day, though, BJ McLeod. He won stage 2. He finished 8th in stage 1, but he was slowly working his way through the field. We only had that 1 caution in the opening stage, so that kind of hindered his progress a little bit. Kurt Busch won stage 1 here today. And Kurt's been right around top 5 all day, but BJ McLeod has really turned it on. He's led some laps here in the final stage as well. And can he pull off the upset win in this one? If he does pull off the upset win today, that will be huge in the playoff implications. I know we're 4 races into the season, but you look at those drivers come the end of the regular season that need to point their way in, and they look at BJ McLeod winning back at Phoenix. They don't want to be in that situation. Wish they could have done something beforehand. And we did have 8 seconds of damage that we accidentally repaired. And because I violated my 5-second penalty rule, I will have to pit one more time before the end of the race. Now, nobody can make it on fuel the rest of the way to the end anyway, so everybody will have to pit once. But we might have to take a pass through another time, and there's a caution, so never mind. Caution's out again with 70 laps to go. That is now the 8th caution of the race, as McLeod still leads over Keselowski, who started at the back today. Well, I didn't have enough time to pit there, I guess. But I guess that serves my penalty for staying out, I guess. Wave around, though, for Ryan Blaney, but that was not ideal. I wanted to pit there, but I guess that's one way we could serve our penalty for accidentally repairing damage when I wasn't supposed to. We were above the 5-second damage clock. So green flag back in the air. Blaney is on older tires, but hoping for another caution, although he did get one of his 3 laps back, so he's back to 2 laps down, and we'll see if this will be the final restart of the race. Blaney does have to pit before the end of the day. Wild racing here in the middle and the back of the pack. 3 wide here pretty consistently throughout the course of the day. On these restarts, we've even seen 4 wide a few times.
Got a car high now.
Blaney barely, and I mean barely cleared Bobby Carter there. Some of the lack of speed, obviously, too, since we changed the settings a little bit. Again, we've always been at 105 for the AI difficulty. Expert, whatever you look at it. We've always been at that on the channel. The difference, though, coming into Season 2 for every one of these series, we're using normal for our tire wear, or sorry, tire effect, instead of more grip. We're using normal, and with that, we're also using normal for the AI tire effect, instead of more effect on there, where their tires would wear out more frequently. So that is why you saw us being faster on the longer run consistently. Not every race, but most races we were faster on the longer run because of that. Didn't have to use custom setups. Now, we're still not using custom setups, and with those two changes, that's why we haven't won a cup race yet. Now, we've won Xfinity, a Xfinity race, and we have won 2 truck races already on the season. 4 races into both of those. Actually, I think only 3 into the truck series, but that is why we have won some races there. And I think a large part of it is the races are shorter. The runs, because of the fuel tank, isn't as long, and we seem to fade out in the long run a lot. Strategy obviously comes into play also in the tracks that we've ran. The bumpier racetracks definitely seem to play out in my effect, and early in the season, Vegas, Auto Club, Atlanta are all ran at the beginning of the year. That's going to play out into my favor early in the season. When we get into the middle, late portion of the year where we have more short tracks, I think it's going to hurt us more without using custom schedules, or I mean custom setups like we're using here. So if we're struggling and we're not competing for wins week in and week out, halfway through the season, I'm going to have to start using custom schedules, custom setups if we're still struggling midway through the year to even get a win, because I mean, the end goal is to win the championship, and I have made it hard on myself as it is, and running the difficulty up the same where it used to be, but obviously, this little bit of a change has made a huge difference on some tracks like Phoenix here. We struggled at Vegas too. We finished 12th. We really weren't more than a 10th place car the whole race. You know, little instances like that. And it just seems like the adjustments throughout the course of the race aren't doing anything. I might gain 1 or 2 spots throughout the course of the race, making my adjustments and getting the car just a tad bit faster. But it's not increasing it by a lot. So there's a chance you might see me using custom setups here by the end of the year, especially if we get into the playoffs and we only have like 1 win, 2 wins on the year, and we're just not competing. We're never going to win a championship, especially knowing that this is the championship race and we're nothing more than a 20th place car. So yeah, we're going to have to find some sort of a custom setup here as the season rolls on. I'll stick with not using custom setups for now, but don't be surprised again about halfway through the season if I start using custom setups. These preset sliders only do so much.
Got one down low now. Alright, you're clear there.
Blaney just getting in front of Bubba Wallace there. And again, we'll have to see if the 78 of BJ McLeod is still leading the race. 51 laps to go here today at Phoenix. 8 cautions total per incident. That is not counting the end of stage 2. We did have a spin by Blaney at the end of stage 1, which gave us a damage and put us multiple laps down. We were already 1 lap down at that point, but I think we would have been 1 lap down the whole race. That damage just did not help us out at all. And he's doing everything he can right now to pick up any sort of time possible. But again, he has just lacked the speed in this race car today. Definitely the worst run Blaney's had of the 4 races so far this season. And there's a very good chance it's going to be a low finish of the year. And again, it's already the first race in which Blaney has not scored stage points at any stage throughout the course of this race as well. So, unfortunately, Blaney's got that going for him today, too. Yeah, it's not impossible. He definitely had a good, excuse me, good climb back performance at Talladega. Even just to get up to 12th, all the damage to the race car, and be able to make it all the way to the end of the race and not exit after that first major wreck he was in. Definitely kudos to that team, but they are still in a deep deficit. And last I remember, Austin Dillon's not the greatest road course racer. So if he's going to contend for stage points, he's gonna need more than a faster car this week, like he has on the intermediates. He's gonna have to will his way with the car itself. The strategy could obviously come into play for stage points throughout the course of the race too, but he's gonna need everything he can get to get points, because I don't see him winning the race. Honestly, I'd be completely surprised if anybody outside of Chase Elliott or Martin Truex Jr. wins this weekend. If one of those two guys don't win this weekend, then I don't know who's going to win, because I don't see anybody really competing with either one of those two guys. Blaine drove it in deep to try and get around Nemechek. Trying to beat him back to the gas all the way to the inside, and definitely clears him there. So good run by Blaney to get around him that time. Slowly getting faster over the course of the run, it looks like. And all it takes, too, is him getting enough points to be ninth and just having that one driver inside the top 8 wreck out this week. Obviously, it can't be Hamlin or Kurt Busch because they've already locked themselves in the next round, and Harvick's got a huge points cushion, so it's probably going to have to be somebody outside of those 3 guys. Or if any one of those 5, like a Bowman or a Truex, say if Truex did have something wrong happen, you know, and he gets in a wreck, or Keselowski, somebody ahead of him in points. That could be the door opening that Kyle Busch or Austin Dillon needs this weekend. Or any one of those guys outside of the top 8 in points. Yeah, Chase Elliott's definitely my pick for this weekend too. I think that's hands down. It's almost unanimous. I think if there is somebody that'll give him a run for his money, it would probably be Truex. I think Truex is the second best road course racer in the Cup Series. Cup Series, hint, hint. Got to keep an eye on that Austin Cindric kid if he comes up to the Cup Series next year. It's leaning like it might be a good chance he'll be in that 21 car next year. This 12 of Blaney is getting really loose, almost like it was way back in stage 1. Still 41 laps to go in the race. Still just hoping for another caution, because he will have to pit before the end of the race regardless, but he's going to... Sends it into turn 3 on his teammate Logano, who now tries to cross him back over. Not battling for position here. I want to talk about Blaney having a rough day for Penske Racing right now. Logano's had an even rougher day. He's been right around 30th the entire race, running 31st. An extra lap or 2 down from where Blaney's at right now. But of course, Brad Keselowski, the third of these Penske Fords, is actually having a good day, and he's competing for a win here in this one, and that's despite Brad starting at the back of the field today. And there is the race leader. BJ McLeod, Blaney trying to hang on here. He gets loose off of turn number 4. Big moment there. Stays in the gas as he tries to stay in front of McLeod. And here comes Martin Truex Jr. McLeod now to the outside of Blaney. Blaney trying to hang on. And here comes Keselowski, who is now up to second, getting around Truex. Blaney going to let his teammate go. Cut down now in front of Boyer, who's in third. Truex lost a couple spots there through 3 and 4. One to Boyer and one to Keselowski. So maybe a little bit of teamwork there by the Penske Fords to stay in front of McLeod. McLeod now getting held up by the next lap car. And Keselowski is right there, but now he gets caught up behind Gaughan, and Blaney just overran turn 3. Got in the wall there on corner entry. That's how loose the race car is. Hoping for another caution as he's 3 laps down once again today. Yeah, it would be a little bit of it wouldn't be an upset necessarily considering how great of a season Harvick's had, but for him to win on a road course for sure. He was pretty good at Watkins Glen back early in his career, but I don't know if he's got to win at Sonoma or not. He was a lot better at the road courses earlier in his career than what he's gotten as years have winded on. Obviously, he had a hard time at the Roval. Spun out a couple times there. Or not the Roval, but the Daytona road course this year. So Keselowski just a car length and a half to 2 car lengths behind BJ McLeod with 33 to go here at Phoenix. BJ McLeod looking for that first career victory on a self-owned team nonetheless. In that 78 car, but a huge amount of lap traffic right in front of him. Got to take every opportunity you could get at a win in this series, especially with this playoff format. McLeod won a stage already, so that gave him 1 playoff point. A win would give him another 5, and it would lock him into the playoffs as well with the win. So guaranteed that he could use that stage win to his advantage here. So who knows? BJ McLeod wants to be the underdog story of this not custom schedule season, I guess, but this NASCAR Heat 5 final season for the Cup Series on the channel. Landing another loose moment off of turn 4. That car is just hanging on for dear life. Again, he took the wave around under the last caution and ended up losing that lap anyway. He didn't get the caution like he had hoped and had to serve his penalty there by standing out on older tires or pitting under green. The caution came out. He was able to stay out, but good run for the rookie Christopher Bell as well. We haven't talked about him much, but he is in the top 5 right now. Harvick just doesn't look as fast as what he did in the first half of the race either. He's in 6th, still having a good day, but he was leading a lot of laps early, and that time 12 of Blaney just slid way up the racetrack.
Stay at the bottom here. Car high, careful there. You're clear all around there.
Mari, welcome back. 28 laps left.
Careful, still there. Still there.
Right front tire down to 20% tire wear. We know Blaney's not going to stay out overly long and risk blowing the tire like he did back in stage 1, which costed him a little contact with LaJoy, and they couldn't get off of one another.
Still there. Got a car coming inside now. Road clear. Got one down low now.
That just adds to the nonsense of this race of what is going on. It has not been my night. I don't know how the battery didn't make it. I thought for sure I had enough battery to get to the end of the race. Alright, well, I guess I'm going to have to finish it from the seat I'm currently in for the last 20 laps. So sorry if you don't see my face on the camera there. The controller did not make it on battery life to the end of the race. I thought it would have, so that is what happened there. And it does bring out a caution. And that is unfortunate for the leaders. Keselowski just took the lead away. But that was definitely not ideal. So 8 cautions per incident today. And we're going to have a late race restart here. Jackson Pittner, welcome to the stream. I cannot extend to where the camera is sitting at currently, nor can I redirect the camera from where my PlayStation's at, so I am very sorry for that. I still do have the comment section on, though. Sorry for that. Next race in this series will be tomorrow afternoon, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Green flag back in the air. Here we go. To the restart. Blaney on 4 fresh Goodyears, but he's 3 laps down at the back of the pack, trying to see if he can maybe gain a couple more positions at least. Brad Keselowski nails the restart up at the front of the field. So 22 laps to go. A bunch of spots. He's back to 4th now. Lost 2 spots on the restart. Blaney will get around Eric Jones now for 23rd. Well, the damage has been repaired for a little bit. I accidentally hit repair earlier. It didn't really help me in the running. I literally have only gained 1 spot since then. I was in 24th at highest at that point of having the damage, and we're 23rd currently, and we can only get up to 22nd. Suarez is a lap down, or 2 laps down. We're 3 laps down, so we're not going to get all of it back. So the highest that Blaney can finish tonight is 22nd, and if he makes it to the end of the race, the lowest he can finish is 24th, so it didn't really matter much at that point. Been a rough night, and there is the pass on Gase, but now Joey trying to cross him over. The 22nd, Blaney fighting for every point he can, and Joey Gase as well. You never know. Gase might win a race at Talladega or Daytona and have a shot to make the playoffs. Oh, car on the wall. Matt DiBenedetto blew a right front tire in the center of the corner. Caution will fly. Huge crash for Matty D that time with just 19 laps to go for the leaders, and that will be our nephew. So now we're going to have even less laps left as Keselowski leads to the green flag, but Cloud fell back to 8th on the restart after restarting in 2nd. A huge blow to his chances to win. But now on the front row, it'll be Keselowski and Boyer with Byron and Kyle Busch restarting in row 2. Green flag back in the air again. Here we go. And DiBenedetto's on fresh tires. He was able to get the car repaired. He is still in the race and has not DNF'd, so keep an eye out on Matty D, as he's got about 20 to 30 lap fresher tires than the rest of the leaders. But he's got a lot of traffic to deal with and not a lot of laps left. Blaney drove it in deep down to the bottom of the track. Oh, Elliott gets loose. I don't think there was contact, though, between the 12 and the 9 car there. And will that be the final restart of the race? Byron quickly got up to 2nd, and now Boyer's losing spots after restarting in 2nd. 3 wide, back in the middle of the pack still. Elliott, Blaney, and McDowell.
Car high, careful there. You got it, you're clear there.
Blaney trying to keep his space now between Jones and Joey Gase back there. Keselowski's trying to pull away from Byron while Harvick's trying to get around him for second. Truex running fourth, Kyle Busch fifth. Boyer's falling back on the restart. I think McLeod might have lost more spots on the restart. A career day, was leading a lot of laps late. He lost the lead to Keselowski right before the caution. Second to last caution came out. Had a tough restart in second place and then loses more spots the following restart again in that outside lane when he restarted in 8th. And now he finds himself finally in line on the inside behind Christopher Bell. Right around 8th or 9th. Harvick still trying to get around Byron as they battle for second. Keselowski is pulling away. 10 laps to go this time by for the race leaders. Again, Blaney 3 laps down in 22nd. That is why there's 10 to go. So with just 10 laps left, we'll wait and see how this might be able to turn out to the finish. Cloud's still struggling to get around Christopher Bell. Ryan Newman, who's right in front of him for position here. And again, Keselowski is pulled away from second and third on the restart. Blaney trying to work to the inside of Ricky Stenhouse. Again, now for position up here. And Blaney might actually be first car, well, he is the first car 3 laps down, but Suarez and Almirola are behind him, so that's why they're showing 2 laps ahead of him. But I think they're on the lead lap. I think Blaney would be the first car lap down, but he'd only get 1 of his 3 laps back if we got another caution before the end of the race. 5 laps to go here at Phoenix. Will they make it back to at least the white flag? Here comes DiBenedetto on fresher tires. Right behind Blaney now going into turn 3. He could get a top 10 finish out of it still. He was running right around 10th before he ended up getting in that accident. And Blaney, who was keeping up with this pack of cars, well, I guess he still is, but maybe not as much as he was originally. Actually kind of pulled DiBenedetto through turns 1 and 2 that time. Way wide to the bottom goes Blaney, underneath both Stenhouse and Hamlin back there. What a move by Cole Custer, getting around both Tyler Reddick and Matt Kenseth through turns 3 and 4 that time. And he tried not to run over Stenhouse, had to check up, and that allowed, I should say, made the 21 of DiBenedetto check up as well, and now he gets to the inside of Blaney. Blaney drives it deep into turn 3. Back to the inside of all 3 of these guys. A 3 wide again. 2 laps to go at the line. So everybody's battling it out here. And will the race leader get back to the white flag? Less than a mile away from doing so. Everybody running hard to the finish. The white flag is in the air. 1 lap to go in the race. Keselowski likely still in the lead. Blaney's absolutely pulled away from Jones and Gase, who he was racing with back there. The fresh tires helped him to the finish in that aspect. Checker flag is in the air for the race leaders. We're still coming through turns 3 and 4 one final time here. And we're about to see the finishing order of the race. Blaney will bring it home in 22nd for the Fanshield 500 at Phoenix. Here in this one, as we'll take a look at the finishing results to this race. 9 cautions total. Brad Keselowski will get the win by about 2 seconds over William Byron, who was barely able to hold on to 3rd over Kevin Harvick, followed by Martin Truex Jr. in 4th. Kyle Busch rounds out the top 5. Clint Boyer in 6th. Newman 7th. Christopher Bell 8th. Career day. BJ McLeod finishes 9th inside the top 10, and he won stage 2. Might I add, Cole Custer rounds out the top 10. 2 hours, 13 minutes total time of the race today with those 9 cautions, kind of slowing the race pace down a little bit. Your stage 1 winner, Kurt Busch, on the other hand, DNF'd here today. So luckily, at least he gets a playoff point. But it'll be Bowman, Timmy Hill, Kurt Busch, David Reagan, who all DNF'd in today's race. And a grand total of 21 drivers finished on the lead lap. There's a look at the point standings. Keselowski continues the trend. 4 different winners in the first 4 races of the year. Blaney actually moves up 1 spot in points. I think that's because he ended up finishing ahead of a couple guys there. Mainly, I think it's because Bowman DNF'd. I think Bowman was ahead of him in points. That was the difference there. So Blaney came in 6th in the point standings. He did move up 1 spot, but that's because Bowman DNF'd there, and he scored a lot more points than him. And that is why it is key to run it out, though he is almost a full race behind his teammate Keselowski, who leads the points by 29 points over Denny Hamlin. So 4 different winners, first 4 races of the year. Derek Jones won the Daytona 500. Almirola won at Vegas. Hamlin won at Fontana. And now Brad Keselowski has won at Phoenix. Kurt Busch had the fastest lap today, 25.895. Again, DNF despite winning stage 1. Harvick actually led the most laps today, 78 laps led of the 312. So very topsy-turvy. It was tough to tell who exactly had the fastest car today. At times it looked like it was McLeod. Harvick, like I stated, stage 1, he looked really fast despite not winning the opening stage. Kurt Busch looked fast. He won the stage at one point. Kyle Busch looked fast at one point. But it was Brad Keselowski who ended up getting the win. Started at the back, might I add. He started dead last and 40th and won the race. So definitely deserved the win nonetheless. That is going to do it for this one. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Hit the like button down below if you enjoyed the race, commentary, the video in general. Sorry for the technical difficulties in the last 20 laps of the race, but nevertheless, we still got to the finish. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Atlanta Motor Speedway for NASCAR Heat 5, the next race of this final NASCAR Heat 5 season for the Cup Series. It'll be race number 5. It'll be a long one, 500 miles, but nonetheless, we will get it done. Regardless. So again, thanks for everybody tuning in tonight. Hit the like button on your way out as well. Hit that bell notification button, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks. Have a good night. Enjoy.